The next match for the United States title was the aforementioned, we were talking about him earlier, Little Matt Riddle versus John Morrison versus Bobby Lashley. And I've always said I'm a fan of Morrison's. And Bobby Lashley, I don't know why he's not they are using him on top now, but why he hasn't been a big star in this company for a while. And they've let him go in the past. He's been other places and he's blah, blah, blah. I don't see what they haven't seen in the past. He's the real deal. He looks tremendous. The way he's moving like a cat. And we talked about how old he is here a while back on one of the shows. He's got to be 275. He moves like a cat, and he's in his 40s now. So anyway, is he not? Didn't we determine that?
I want to say we determined he was like 45. I'll double check, but
yeah,
he's not he looks better than he's ever looked in his entire career. But he's in his mid-40s, I believe.
But anyway, of course, we can't have a singles match. That would have been wonderful. But as a triple threat match, I even wrote this. I said, if this match is to make a beast out of Lashley, I agree wholeheartedly. And that's what he did for most of it, is he beat up everybody. And Morrison is still so athletic, and he nails some shit. Boom. But at the same time now, by the way, when Lashley was on Riddle, that's what Dr. Death versus Riddle would have looked like. Except Doc wasn't cut like Lashley, but he had probably 20 pounds on him. And then they finally, as they should have, had a double team to get Lashley down. And then as soon as they do, immediately Morrison, because he's a heel, turns on fucking Riddle. So that's fine. But I thought that toward the end of it, it got messier and more confusing when Lashley wasn't the centerpiece and just showing what a beast he was. But finally, however, MVP's on a crutch. I assume it's a legitimate injury, but MVP is a heel manager, yes, but he also was a wrestler formerly, and Morrison just goes out and backs MVP down and takes his crutch away from him. Couldn't he have shoved the guy with the injury down and takes it away from him instead of emasculating him by just, here, give me your crutch? And then he goes to hit Lashley, but Lashley stops him, and while Lashley's got fucking Morrison in the full Nelson, Riddle hits Lashley with the crutch twice and fucking pinned Morrison to win the U.S. title, which Lashley held, which is exposed the biggest part of the bullshit in the bullshit rules that these three-way matches have is that the champion doesn't need to get pinned, which is lunacy. So that just leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. But now,
on the bright side, at least it keeps Lashley strong because he didn't actually lose anything.
Well, yes, but don't switch the goddamn belt then. If you've got plans and they do because Lashley comes out later on, don't fucking have Lashley lose anything right now. It's not just because it's Riddle, but if you're going to be figuring him in a fucking bigger position, I don't know. But they're going to say it's storytelling out there in Twitterville. It's storytelling because now they open up all these things where Miz and Morrison and Riddle and Lashley and blah, blah, blah. Muddying the water. What you think?
On the topic of Riddle, I remember when he was wrestling for Gabe Sapolsky in Evolve. People raved about him. People said how he was a natural, how great he was, how if he didn't have his marijuana habit, he'd be on the main roster, how he reminds them, this is the one that still gets me, he reminds people of Kerry Von Erich.
Yes, that is just lunacy.
That's not, why? Because he has long hair? Why? But I thought he was all right in NXT. I think his whole shtick, the whole bro thing, and no one is a bigger proponent of flip-flops than I am. But the flip-flops and the bro thing, it's just, to me, it's lame. Now he doesn't even have a real name. Now it's just Riddle. But I don't get it, and I don't see it with him. In fact, that now that we know that he's 35, he's not even a young guy, well, relatively young for wrestling, that also makes you question it, but I don't get it. I watch this, and I'm like, this is someone people have raved about, and I simply don't see it. I also don't see him as someone who has the ability to have mass appeal. And I know other people have. So, sometimes you watch a wrestler and you're like, man, people like Masachono, just to throw a name out there. People rave about Masachono. And every time I watched him, I said, this guy isn't good. I don't get it. I don't get it with this guy. People love him, but I don't get it. And Matt Riddle, same thing. I just don't understand the appeal because I don't think he really has that big of an appeal.
Somebody called Matt Riddle cosplay Rob Van Dam.
But again, why? Because he smokes weed? I mean, there's...
Well, and flips sometimes. Yeah, I don't fucking know.
I don't know. But certainly I don't get the Kerry Von Erich thing in any way. I don't understand that.
He reminds me of Kerry Von Erich's right leg.
That's not right.
Well, that's the closest the comparison I can make. He's about the same size as Kerry Von Erich's right leg. That's the closest comparison I can make to him and Kerry Von Erich.